I'm Dr. Yen. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist here in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. We're situated on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. I was born and raised in Lloydminster, a community about an hour and a half from North Battleford. I did my undergrad training in Edmonton, and then I completed medical school at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon. From there, my journey led me to Vancouver, where I completed a residency in OBGYN. I decided to move back to North Battleford to be closer to my family. My parents were both living in Lloydminster at the time. One of my good friends from medical school had actually started her practice here in this SpecMed medical building, and I saw that she had a great life here and she had supportive colleagues, and she was really enjoying her work-life balance. So some of the biggest lifestyle changes I've noticed is really with respect to housing. I was living in this tiny 2-bedroom apartment in Vancouver. Here I am able to have a house with a 3-car garage and a yard and spread out. And when I speak with my friends across the country, one of the biggest concerns is housing affordability. So what you save on housing here, you can put into other things, which is really amazing. With respect to work-life balance here in Saskatchewan, from a work perspective, I find that when I work in a regional centre the size of ours here in North Battleford, is I have a lot of autonomy, which is to say I have a lot of independence in my practice. I find that when you are in larger centres, oftentimes there can be many layers of administration just to do your basic day-to-day job. So I find it's easier for me to provide the care to my patients. And the short commutes allowed me to go home and do the things I like. From my home to the hospital, I'm able to see my post-surgical patients and my new mums, and then zip to the office. That can all be done in less than half an hour. That really saves me a lot of time and a lot of hassle, right? With respect to clinical practice in a smaller regional center, a lot of physicians train at tertiary centers and university centers, and sometimes I think they worry when they come to these smaller places whether they're going to have the resources that they had in their home centers. And because we are a smaller center, we have excellent access to surgical time. I have more surgical time here than in any other community where I've worked. My patients have a very short wait list, and they're quite happy to be able to get their surgeries sooner rather than later. We are probably one of the best paid OBGYN departments in all of Canada, which just demonstrates how much our government values women's health and women's health care. So the tight-knit practice we have here in North Battleford is probably one of the highlights of working in this community. I know my colleagues very well, and my colleagues know me very well. When I pick up the phone and have to transfer a mom and baby to a higher level of care, 90% of the time I know the doctor who's accepting, and they recognize who I am and my clinical acumen, and they trust what I have to say. I've had wonderful mentors in my time here working in Saskatchewan, and I feel like I've also had the opportunity to mentor some new staff. When I first came here, my colleagues were really very helpful in sharing their resources and helping me with difficult cases right off the bat. There was never any hesitation from my colleagues. So a lot has changed in obstetrics and gynecology over the last 10 years. There was a time when, as an OBGYN doctor, you were on call solely for all of your patients, and you really couldn't leave your community because at any given point, one of your pregnant women might go into labor and have a baby. I think medicine has changed a lot, and we are much more involved with team-based approaches now. I have an amazing group of 4 other women physicians in my call group. When I'm not on call, I know I can turn off my phone because my colleagues will safely look after all of my patients. I think for physicians or people in general who haven't come to Saskatchewan before, they don't know a lot about what we have here. And I think that here in Saskatchewan, we absolutely have the same state-of-the-art technology that is available in other provinces like BC and Ontario. And in many of our academic centres, we actually have more access to those things because we have smaller groups of physicians. One of my joys is actually traveling. To be able to zip through security at Saskatchewan Airport only takes you about 5 minutes, whereas, getting through security at Vancouver Airport might take you 55 minutes. So it's quite convenient to be able to get from one place to the other. One of the organizations I've had the opportunity to work with, it has actually been the American College of OBGYNs. And our American counterparts actually do value very much our input and understandings about how we're working up in the Canadian North. So if I were to have to sum it up with just one word as to why Saskatchewan, I would say it would have to be the people. People in the prairies were different. We're warm, we're cooperative. I find that from a doctor community standpoint, my colleagues are always ready to lend a hand. They want to get to know me. They want to know how I'm doing my life, and they're excited when I succeed. I think when everybody has these common goals of helping one another and the cooperation, that's really what puts Saskatchewan above any other place. Saskatchewan is calling. Grow your practice, grow your life.